Good day and welcome to another edition of Political Scope. I'm your host for this program, Paul McAdam. With me today is the Honorable Minister of Labour, Dr. Nandagopal. So welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Today we're going to be looking at government and its initiatives for youth. There's been some talk recently, it's been going on for a little while, about government not doing enough or not doing anything for youths of the country. How do you respond to that?
Well, I would say that those would be unfounded statements. I have been actively involved through the Board of Industrial Training since I became minister, and in fact, since Minister Nadir was minister under former President Jack Dew, an initiative was taken where under the Board of Industrial Training, hundreds of millions of dollars were put aside for the training of young people, school dropouts, for the training of and empowerment of single parents, and especially young mothers and housewives in particular. And so over the last 8 years or so, we would have completed training of in excess of 16,000 persons, young people who were considered school dropouts, who didn't complete secondary education in the main. Last year, we completed training of in excess of 2,900 persons. So nearly 3,000 persons were given the opportunity to be trained and to find employment. And most of these persons have been empowered by the government. For example, the persons who have been trained as block makers, at the end of their training, they were given the mold to make the block. They were given a small amount of money to buy the cement and the sand.
Basically a startup.
A startup exercise. And so they have made a success story of themselves. Other persons have been trained as heavy-duty equipment operators, and we've invested quite a lot in conjunction with private companies, and they are doing exceedingly well. That's a group of persons who have gained employment immediately upon the training completed.
From what I understand is a lot of the people, the youths who are training as heavy-duty operators, some of the mining companies are grabbing them as soon as they finish training.
Well, they've been completely absorbed in especially the mining sector. Sugar, for example, assisted in the training of some of the sugar industry, and they were unable to attract any one of them because there are higher wages in the hinterland, and they go there. There are many, many persons who have been trained in garment manufacturing, cosmetology, and all these people could not have been employed. And they are now finding employment. When you compare with what the recruitment and placement division is doing as against yesteryears, it's amazing. We have just set up online registration in every region of this country, and persons can register, and then we have been able to access information from employers who need workers, and so we are doing the matching process, and we are able to send persons with the relevant skills to employers. So we're training. The other thing is that the education system in this country is so geared that every single child can complete secondary education and can be given the opportunity to attend school. We're setting up more secondary schools and around the country in the hinterland area. I can tell you one of my experiences becoming minister. There was a project started with the ILO on the highway, and that project started because there was an attendance of just under 50% of the young people in that area going to school. We discussed with the ILO, and we were able to secure funds from the ILO, and we were able to transport those children to school and provide a hot meal. And the attendance record grew to about 100%, almost complete.
And that's a simple intervention.
Yeah, and after 3 years, which ended in 2013, the government took over the program because it was a success story. The young children from that area were doing well, coming out with 7 and 9 subjects at the CXC. And so it is an amazing thing. And we're saying that that is not only happening on the highway. In almost every hinterland community, the government provide transportation for children to go to school. The far-flung areas, the riverine areas, boat transportation is provided. We provide also accommodation for children living in, remote
So you
areas.
have dormitories and so on set
Yeah,
up so they can live in.
we have created the opportunity, and I believe that if you want to end child labor, and I'm repeating it, the best way is to give every child secondary education, let them complete secondary education. But if for some reason that some of our children cannot complete secondary education, then the program we have under BIT, the Board of Industrial Training, will facilitate giving that child a skill to go on the to go to the job market and to get a job. So the opportunities are there, and we don't discriminate, and we don't. Any child that wants a training come up to the program, and we train them. We're not limiting it. Anywhere they want the training to be conducted, we coordinate with business communities, with employers, and we train. If there's a mechanic workshop at Enmore, for example, or in Buxton or in Linden, and a child wants to be a motor mechanic, we attach them to one of those recognized workshops, not to be exploited, but to be trained.
Yes.
If they want to be trained in the printing industry, we put them with printers. If they want to be trained in garment manufacturing, we train them in that area. Cosmetology, the same thing. And we don't have time, because we discovered that if persons want to be trained and you set training for within a certain period, you lose them. And so as they are ready, we are ready to put them on the program.
So the program is more flexible.
It's very flexible to allow for that. If, and I heard a statement made by the opposition leader that 6,000 persons, young people, come out of school without being graduating, and there is no opportunity. Well, 3,000, nearly 3,000 last year, have been given an opportunity. And we continue to do that, and all could have been given an opportunity. If all turn up, we train them.
It has to go hand in hand. Both the child and the parents need to want it to.
Yes, yes, and we encourage the parents, and we have had the responses that we have had in Bartica, for example, is amazing. We have had in Region 7, we have had in Linden, we have had in Berbice, Maikoni, Lenora, all these areas, Essequibo, and we're going to go all over this country, wherever young people want to be trained, and we'll train them. We are also not discriminating in our program, and we want to encourage persons from the opposition parties to get involved in it too. And we were happy with the coordination we had in Bartica, with the regional chairman there, played a pivotal role. At the end of the graduation exercise, he was there. He interfaced with the young people, myself and himself, and other officials from the region. And we encourage them, and we point to areas and opportunities where these young people can go and have a start. In Linden, it was different. We invited the chairman of the mayor of Linden, Mr. Sharma Sullivan,
yes.
and he did not show up. In Region 4, we invited the regional chairman, and he did not show up. To come to the graduation, to interface with the young people, and to let them have an opportunity to talk with leaders so that they can be motivated and to see that there is a future for them. And we want to do that. We want to continue with that. This is not a partisan exercise.
I was going to mention that.
It is not a partisan exercise. This is an exercise where we believe our young people must be given the opportunity, and we are giving them the opportunity. The government has not been miserly in terms of the release of funding for this program. It has given more and more and more, and it's invested in heavy-duty equipment also, so that these people can be trained. We didn't only depend on private individuals with heavy-duty equipment. BK International played a part, Gaisuko played a part, but we are doing it ourselves, and we continue to depend on some of these large employers with good fleet of heavy-duty equipment. The other area, the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports also have youth training opportunities for young people at the Kurukuru and several other areas, as well as the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs. So it's not only linked.
So the ministries interlink
Yes,
with each other.
it is
and
not
doing this thing.
only the Ministry of Labor under the BIT program, it's Ministry of Education also has a program. And so a number of technical programs are involved. The initiatives are there for young people to come in, join into these programs.
And what I was watching the other day when GTI had their graduation, you had quite a few young women graduating in mechanical skills and so on.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Right,
In
which
fact,
is
we in the heavy duty
right?
equipment
Yes,
operator
the
and
operators
in
too.
the mechanical engineering area, a lot of young ladies have been involved in Bartik in particular, and we are happy about that development. In Skeldon, at that technical institute there, I attended a graduation exercise the other day, and quite a lot of young people. I addressed that graduation ceremony. Quite a lot of young people, young female, are using the opportunity to be educated to help themselves get a skill for employment.
And it's good for empowering young women. Too.
Yeah, and I want to tell you this. There are a lot of opportunities out there for young people, especially in the building trade. And it pays handsomely. The construction industry is booming, and
is
every
booming,
day
yes.
you move around a construction site, you see wanted laborers, wanted masons, wanted carpenters, almost every work site. So if a young man said, look, I left school, I drop out of school, and there's not an opportunity, they can even go at these work sites and be trained. You can start as a laborer and end up as a mason or a painter.
Because they need people.
Because there is need and the industry is moving, booming. And so young people, I've heard many employers wanting workers and they're not getting them. And that we want to train for the job market. And that's what we are doing. We're not merely, sometimes we advise young people, they may come in and say, look, I want to be trained as X, Y, or Z. And I said, look, that is not, there are opportunities here, you want to consider that. Yeah, fine. But if they insist, we train them in the area they want to. And I've been making the point, and I want to make the point again to our young people, going to university in particular, do not think about business study, business management, and things. Yes, we may need a few managers here and there.
There's only so much work you can absorb.
And sociology and political science, go into economics, mathematics, the sciences, computer science. Go into those areas. Those are skill areas that people always need workers. And you will secure a job almost immediately. And so in choosing a career, in choosing a field of study, we must be very careful. We must not go to the university because we want a degree. We must go to the university because we want to enhance ourselves and we want to move.
And make a wise career
And
choice.
make a wise career choice. And that is what I'm appealing to our young people in doing. You don't want, when you graduate, look at how many students come out with business management and sociology and these sort of things.
But
Every
realistically,
year,
there's not
as
enough
against
business-
mathematics,
right,
as against mathematics, as against economics, as against
The computer technology.
computer science
Yeah.
and these sort of things.
I know government is pushing for more people to be trained in computer skills and so on. We have quite a few schools, and from what the president had mentioned before, this the ICT center that India is going to help with setting up. You see, there's going to be a need for that very soon because the whole world is becoming more technologically advanced.
Oh yes, but the thing is that while we are doing that and while we were talking about the one laptop per family program, the opposition is hitting all these programs that are aimed at improving the development of our country and the job opportunities and opportunities for young people. You can't want to talk about government not giving opportunities and at the same breath you move to knock programs which provide opportunities for young people to gain employment. Hydroelectricity is a necessity for Guyana because we want, with cheap electricity, a lot of development will take place, a lot of job creation will occur, and young people will be employed. In terms of the one laptop, every home would have been empowered. with the
Focus.
use of computer, with at being able to access the internet, at being able to access educational materials and education resources, but yet we find the opposition hitting that. In fact, the BIT program at one time, they signaled their intention that they were going to cut it. But at least good sense prevailed.
The change of
And
heart
they-
there.
Yeah, and they did not, because I've spoken to them about the need for it. And this is a program, a program for every young child in this country, giving every young child an opportunity. So the PPP government has done quite a lot in the area of developing our young people, developing our human resource base, our capacity. We have done so with the amount of money being expended in education. We have done so in the amount of money being expended in technical schools in and around the country, almost in every region. And when you look at the last results at the Common Entrance, the CXC, you see Guyana copying 4 out of 6 prizes in the Caribbean, or 4 out of 7. It's an amazing, people passing 18 and 20 subjects with 18 distinctions and 19 distinctions, unheard of before. Unheard of in my days when people were writing 6 and 7 subjects.
That was a lot.
That was a lot.
Yes, or 9 subjects was like,
9
wow.
subjects, oh, that man is a genius. Now we're
People
20.
doubling it, yes.
Yeah, it's an
kids
amazing
doubling it.
thing as what has happened with education, completely from the neglect of dilapidated buildings, children not being able to go to school with a good meal. They were going to school in my days with sugar cake and sugar water.
And that could only last so
And the
long.
politicians are telling the people, don't be reminded about those days, but those are dark days in our country where politicians had no mercy for our young people, no mercy for the Guyanese population, and they must be told about that. The PPP government has been able to restore pride in this nation. We were a laughing stock in the entire Caribbean. Today, the Caribbean is looking at us with envy. The way Guyana has been growing, the progress you're seeing all around in housing, in infrastructural development, everywhere we have done well, we have done exceedingly well.
Some of them even trying to pull our labor to their countries.
Oh,
to do
yes.
work.
Well, as we train nurses, for example, they're going. As we train doctors, they're going as soon as they finish their contract. And we have trained, look how many young people we have trained as doctors in the days gone by, just after colonialism and even in the colonial era. You had to come from a wealthy family before you become a doctor or a lawyer.
So that kind of kept it in that bracket.
Today,
Yes.
over 400 young people came back in the last 3 years as doctors in this country.
And now the government
Thanks
doing their
to an
attachments.
arrangement made between President Jagdeo, former President Jagdeo, and former President Fidel Castro at that time. And that operation continues. We have about 600 more to come back. Now, these are opportunities for young people which would never have been given to them. Never have been given to them. And they're children of sugar workers, they're children of farmers, they're children of bauxite workers all over this country. In every region, we have young doctors, young persons becoming doctors. And that's the reason why we will enhance the medical services provided by to the people with all these community hospitals, health centers, everything will be manned by a professional doctor. And so healthcare will become professional, and we don't depend on the medics, the dispensers, and the nurses to dispense treatment at these health centers.
And health is the main thing. Once you're healthy, you can work.
Yeah,
and
exactly. And I'm
contribute.
saying these are all opportunities we have for young people. And I'm absolutely appalled, and I want to appeal to young people. Don't listen to the jargon. Don't listen to the cheap politics about young people not being given an opportunity. Any young child wanting an opportunity can get an opportunity in this country. Any young child can become what he or she wants to become. And it's a message I've been sending. The parents have to help to mold the children, to help them, to guide them along.
The children have to apply themselves.
And they have to apply themselves. Teachers also will play that role. And we are here in the different agencies of government to also assist.
You mentioned the opposition. This is something I wanted to ask. They actually plan to form, there are talks about forming an alliance. How do you see this shaping up in terms of going into the next election with what they've been saying and so on?
Well, there are all kind of talking taking place. The smaller party in the parliament, the AFC, I understand, talking about wanting an alliance, but they must lead it. I think when conditionalities like that are being set, it's a no-go. You can't go into talks and talk about shared governance and shared or alliance politics and have preconditions set. So that's for the business. But I think the time has come when Guyanese must work together, and I believe that Guyanese must work after the coming elections for consensus building and for a change in what happened in the 10th Parliament. What happened in the 10th Parliament is not a good example for Guyanese and has not done Guyana well. It has stymied progress, it has blocked progress, and politicians behaved in a very, I wouldn't say disgraceful manner, but a selfish manner in blocking monies for national development. And you can't want to be in politics and not want to dialogue and have understanding and be able to discuss issues with an open mind. There's a lot of politics of hate existing, and especially in the Alliance for Change, where persons coming out of both of the major parties. And so it is sometimes difficult when persons come out and they are aggrieved. The hate sometimes overrides good judgment.
Okay.
And I'm saying that we must be able to, whatever we do in building consensus, build consensus based on mutual respect and based on putting the countries first. Not trying to get rid of the PPP. The whole idea of forming alliances now, to my mind, is a clear notion, is to try to get rid of the PPP. They're saying, look, and they're bringing race openly into the situation. One letter writer, very influential member of the AFC, saying, look, if you don't give us Moses Nagamootoo as the leader of the combined alliance, Indians will not vote for a combined alliance. And I think, and so you won't be able to get rid of the PPP. So you must give us Nagamootoo as the presidential candidate. And Mr. Granger, you're a good man, but you must play second fiddle to that. Well, I think people have passed that stage. And I think in alliance politics, there must be a genuine understanding of what people would like to achieve for the benefit of the country and how they would like to go about the future development of the country. And I heard other talks about, when we get into power, we're going to jail some of those corrupt leaders. Where is corruption among the leaders in government? Let them identify it. Jail for what? This is the only country and this is the only period in which a government has been able to put out an audit report every year and for the audit report to be scrutinized by a public accounts committee. We have a good track record. But the viciousness and these type of statements, the venom flowing from the mouth of some of the opposition politicians will not do this country any good. And would not see, you're talking about shared governance, you're talking about let us work together.
Yes,
and then you want to jail people for nothing whatsoever, absolutely baseless statements coming from them, and you're talking the politics of hate. You cannot do that. If you want to build Guyana, and that's the reason why the PPP is in the lead in all of this, the PPP has been able to quietly incorporate members of civil society, professionals, respected persons in the business community together. And that's the reason why the country has moved in the direction at which it has moved. Absolute progress is taking place. Now, because of that, there is some degree of envy. There is some degree that people believe there's no chance in us getting political power because of the track record of the PPP. So let us try a thing. Dirty politics become the norm. And going around the community and using some of the newspapers to spew absolute rubbish Let them debate objectively. Let them go into parliament, and we've seen what has happened. Objectivity is lost for selfish politics. You're going to tell me that you're going to vote down the Amila Falls.
When actually you have to visit trip to Amaya Falls, yes. Everybody saw it.
You're going to vote down a specialty hospital, which means well for the country. You're going to vote down an airport project for modernizing the airport. These are absolutely good projects. You're going to vote down developmental projects where community roads and everything are affected. And then you're talking about the people, and you will give the people a better opportunity. Well, the track record is there. The PNC has destroyed Guyana completely in the 28 years they've been there. Human rights violation took place almost at every corner. The track record is there. Fundamental rights and freedoms were non-existent. Denial of basic and essential food items were prevalent. Denial of education was also. While they talk about free education, schools were not built. The housing project was literally stalled. All of those things have picked up under the PPP administration. So what will people do? People will not remember when they had an opportunity, we were denied. And it wasn't only voters of the PPP or supporters of the PPP were denied fundamental rights.
Across the board.
Across the board. We remember how they tear gas the workers in the prison cells in Linden. We remember how over 6,000 workers were sent home from the public sector under the guise of redeployment and never get employment anywhere, lost their pension opportunities. We recall when thousands of bauxite workers had to struggle every day to get their pension money, the RILA plan money, those things. So when people compare those time as against now, where all freedoms are intact to the extent that people can curse us every day and say things unsubstantiated every day, those freedoms exist now. So what will they vote for? And 6%, 10 years of consistent economic growth and development, and not to talk about the protection of workers. They're talking about we're not a working class government, anti-working class. Every worker in this country has now a protection under the law. Mm-hmm. There's a national minimum wage and a national working hour of 40 hours. From the humble help at home to the shop assistants to the gas station attendants, they're all being protected under law. And they have, when they were abused with long working hours, security guards, everybody are now made to work, and they have conditions of employment under law and protection. These are the things that we have done, and these are the things that the people will guide us and will vote. And those who think that they can win the People's Progressive Party, they better think whether they come in an alliance or whether they come separately. The People's Progressive Party will romp home at the next election come May 11th. They have had a bad track record in the 10th Parliament, and they must know that. And that is the price they will pay. That is the price they will pay. I'm not going to go back to the 28 years of the PNC. I'm going to talk about the track record, and we are going to discuss how they hindered development over the last 3.5 years in this country. And when you put leaders together, they will have to, whoever the alliance will put, or if they'll come together, they'll have to face President Donald Ramotar, a man of integrity, a decent individual, a man who has given it all for Guyana, all his life. And a cabinet that is grounded with the working class in mind. We don't support the workers only when they have problems or election time. The People's Progressive Party government created outreaches year in, year out, in and around this country. We go and we listen to the people, and we talk with them. And I can tell you, as one of the leaders of government moving around this country, yesterday I was in Better Hope. or not yesterday, the day before. And I am satisfied. And the day before, and we go all over the place. And the feedback we have got is that people are disregarding the wild accusations and disregard, and people are going to vote for what they see in front of their eyes, development.
And that is the platform you're running on, development.
Development. Judge us from what we have done as against what they have done. They have hindered development, they have stymied and tried to starve this country of funds. It's the only time I see legislators trying to cut development budget. When the country has an opportunity to expend money, you're trying to curtail it.
We'll close on that note. Final words. That was Political Scope. With me today, your guest was the Minister of Labour, Dr. Nanda Gopal. Thanks again for joining me and being so vocal, especially in the last part. And we'll do this again sometime.
Yeah, sure.
Right? That was Political Scope. I'm your host, Paul McAdam, saying bye-bye for now.
And this is